Good evening. I call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Gladstone City Council for Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. It is 6:30 p.m. The City of Gladstone is abiding by guidelines set forth in House Bill 2560, which requires the governing body of the public body, to the extent reasonably possible, to make all meetings accessible remotely through technological means and provide opportunity for members of the general public to remotely submit oral and written testimony during meetings to the extent in-person oral and written testimony is allowed. Therefore, this meeting will be open to the public both in person and virtually using the Zoom platform. The Zoom instructions were printed on the agenda to the meeting. If members of the public would like to comment on an agenda item, either virtually or in person, they were to have emailed their comments or their requests to speak to the city recorder prior to noon today. And individuals attending in person may also submit a speaker card to the city recorder prior to the beginning of the meeting. The speaker cards are on the table at the entrance. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The City Council will also have Gladstone City event announcements during the meeting and business from the audience at the end of the meeting. To speak during the either time, virtually or in person, again, you were to have emailed the request to the city recorder prior to noon today with your name, topic of discussion, and city of residence. And individuals attending in person may submit a speaker card to the city recorder at the beginning of the meeting. Comments, again, are limited to 3 minutes. Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Councilor Huckabee.
Present.
Councilor Mitchell.
Present.
Councilor Blau.
Present.
Councilor Labonte.
Present. Present.
Councilor Farley.
Present.
Councilor Garlington.
Present.
Mayor Milch.
Present. Please stand for the flag salute. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before our regular meeting agenda, we have 2 proclamations to share this evening. Whereas the City of Gladstone is committed to the core values of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and desires to cultivate a sense of belonging for all residents, and whereas lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, non-binary, and asexual LGBTQ+ people are members of the Gladstone community, and whereas Pride Month is celebrated in the month of June to honor the 1969 Stonewall riots in New York City that were sparked in response to ongoing police harassment of New York's gay community, and were also the catalyst for establishing safe places for gay and lesbian people to be open about their sexual orientation without fear of being arrested or imprisoned. And whereas the City of Gladstone strives to be a welcoming and safe place where people, families, and institutions thrive, and the contributions of all are celebrated and valued. And whereas the City of Gladstone's support of LGBTQ+ Pride Month reflects a commitment to being an ally and to supporting marginalized people's rights to love, joy, and expression. Therefore be it resolved, I, Michael Milch, Mayor of the City of Gladstone, do hereby proclaim June 2026 as LGBTQ+ Pride Month in the City of Gladstone in support of our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, non-binary, and asexual family, friends, and neighbors, and declare that love is love, you are valued and welcome, and your city stands with you. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 9th day of June, 2026. Michael Milch, Mayor of Gladstone, Oregon. And this second proclamation. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas word about the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed some 2.5 years to June 19th, 1865, in reaching authorities, African American and Black slaves in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to Black and African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated for over 150 years. And whereas Juneteenth is a day of reflection and a day of renewal, it is a moment in time to appreciate not only the Black and African American experience, but it is inclusive of all races, ethnicities, and nationalities. And whereas Juneteenth-centered activities have taken place to promote and cultivate knowledge and appreciation of Black and African American history and culture, and whereas Juneteenth is a day that we can come together as a community to listen, to learn, to refresh the drive to achieve, it is a day where we can come one step closer together to better utilize the energy wasted on racism. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Michael Milch, Mayor of the City of Gladstone, do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth in Gladstone, an annual celebration of the past, present, and future of Black and African American liberation. And I urge all citizens to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in Black and African American history and in the heritage of our nation and city. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 9th day of June, 2026. Michael Milch, Mayor of Gladstone, Oregon. We will hear a little bit more about community efforts to celebrate both of these events later in our meeting tonight. And we also have a special presentation from Water Environment Services to begin our meeting. And so I'd ask Greg Geist to come forward, push the button on one of those microphones, and you will be heard.
Mayor, can I ask we hold off for 1 second? We just need to give the proclamations to the appropriate people.
Oh, yes. And we have copies of them? Very good.
I'll have you present them.
And I think we have a representative of the group that was, Mary, you're here representing the group that submitted the Juneteenth proclamation, because that individual was not able to be here. And did I believe the same person submitted also the LGBTQ proclamation as well. So I will bring those to you. And if you'd like to see that they get posted or made use of during the celebration. No, I think that Kelly is submitted. Yeah. Thank you.
Mary, thank you also for being on the planning committee to make a great celebration.
All right, Greg, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mayor Milch. My name is Greg and council members. My name is Greg Geist. I'm the Director of Clackamas Water Environment Services. This is our 7th year that we've been here annually, giving essentially a state of the district report, kind of a highlight of what happened last year in 2025 and what's coming down the pipe this year. You can go ahead and advance. Oh. Okay, thank you. Oh, shoot.
This says 2024.
I think. Yeah.
We have the 2025 report in our packet.
Okay.
And that's what's been published to the community. So Tammy, are you able to bring up the PDF of the packet and use that as a way of posting it on the screen? That's probably a little more complicated.
Hold tight.
Thank you.
Well, I will say 2025, we really were focused on our vision, which is to be a collaborative partner. So we focused on relationships with our ratepayers, with the communities that we serve, and with the elected officials of the various cities, in addition to completing some really significant wastewater infrastructure projects that are going to serve this community for decades and decades to come. So I'll talk more about those. Actually, I'll do this next slide too. Even we can just skip past it once we get caught up. So I'm pleased to announce, I'm going to start by tooting our own horn a little bit. In 2025, WES won the Oregon Association of Clean Water Agencies Member Agency of the Year Award. And that's communities like Bend, Corvallis, Eugene, Portland, all across the state. So it was a huge honor. And I think that it really reflects the hard work that the employees of WES are doing on your behalf and on other communities' behalf across the region. So we also won that award in 2019, which is pretty unheard of. So we're very proud about that. It was a big accomplishment for our people in 2025.
Mayor, unfortunately, the one in the packet is sideways, so I will bring that up.
Oh, I've got it.
You've got this, okay.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to get onto.
Yeah, it just won't show up on the screen, I guess. It won't be the correct slides on the screen. So should I just go through it? Okay. Okay, so theoretically, next slide. Our vision and mission at WES. And again, for those watching, most of you already know this, but our vision is to be a collaborative partner in building a resilient clean water future where all people benefit and rivers thrive. And for those of you maybe watching or in the room, the service that WES provides Gladstone is wholesale wastewater treatment. So the city of Gladstone owns the pipes and at least one pump station in the city. We own the Gladstone pump station over by 24-Hour Fitness. And so that's where we kind of take over. We pump waste over into our collection system where it flows by gravity to our wastewater treatment facility across the river. We take what goes down people's toilets and we make three things. We make clean water that goes back out to the Willamette River. We make electricity that we use to partially power our large industrial facility across the river. And we make a natural fertilizer called biosolids that goes out to Eastern Oregon for application on agricultural fields. That's what we do. We serve about 200,000 people in the urbanized area of Clackamas County. We actually have 5 treatment facilities. Our 2 main ones are our Tri-City facility across the river, our Kellogg facility in Milwaukee, which if you drive by, you'll notice that we are remodeling our administration building and actually adding some community space to that facility. We also have 3 smaller wastewater facilities that serve boring, about 900 homes up on the mountain in Hoodland, and a small, well, it's not small, it's a large on-site septic system that serves about 24 homes kind of out in the rural area of Clackamas County. So yeah, that's what we do in a nutshell. Our governing body is the Board of County Commissioners, but we also have a 20-member strong citizen advisory committee that includes Mayor Milch, and Christopher Bowker, who's also a Gladstone resident and engineer, as well as elected officials, business owners from all of the cities that we serve, business owners, environmental interests, some education folks, and ratepayers. So we think we have a really good cross section of the community that we serve. And it's been a highly, I'd say, efficient and effective citizen advisory committee that the Board of County Commissioners very much respects and takes their recommendations almost always. One minor exception. Let's keep moving. One of the things that I love talking about with respect to WES is our planning. We formed the WES 190 partnership back in 2016. If those of you who were around in the 2015, 2016 timeframe, things were not good. Between WES and the cities, at least Oregon City, Gladstone, we didn't have good relationships. We didn't work together. We didn't collaborate. We didn't partner. There was a lot of mistrust. We reformed WES under a municipal partnership and kind of merged 3 separate service districts together that in the past had been kind of competing in a way. What that did is it took these large capital investment projects from a one-off negotiation between the two sewer districts to under a single umbrella. And so what we went from playing Mother May I with 100-year infrastructure to being able to plan, do capital facilities plans, looking out 50 years, both the condition and future growth needs, and put both capital plans and financial plans in place that give that stability that we've enjoyed virtually ever since that partnership was formed. So what I like to say is we know what we need to build, when we need to build it, and how we're going to pay for it for at least the next 10 years, which for a utility like us is a real blessing. We have very stable rates, and they're projected to stay reasonable and reasonable and predictable rate increases far into the future. And we are below the regional average, well below the regional average for the services that we provide. So we think that we provide a very stable and a very affordable service to the community, and we're very proud of that. Speaking of that, we were honored with the Government Finance Officers Association's Certificate of Achievement for financial reporting and the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for 2025. And for the first time, we submitted a popular financial annual report, PAFR, which is about a 12-page document that's designed for the average ratepayer to understand our budget. We submitted that to GFOA, and if we get the award for that, we will be one of only 9 entities in the entire state of Oregon that have the triple crown for the financial reporting, distinguished budget, and popular annual financial report. So fingers crossed. You always want to talk about rates. We are proposing a rate increase for Gladstone that's been consistent for the last 5 years of 5%, which is $1.55 per month per household. That will make the total sewer rate $32.30 for residents of Gladstone. Feel free to interrupt if you have any questions. We also completed the Tri-City Outfall Project. Hopefully you heard about that, the Clackamole project. We had a big tunnel boring machine. It was fun. It was exciting. We had a lot of community involvement. And most importantly, we got it online in December, at least in time for the second major storm. That is infrastructure that will serve this community and future growth out through 2080. We brought that on time. It was a $58 million project, which is a big one for us. And we brought it in on time and on budget. So we're proud of that. That was a big accomplishment for us in 2025. I was going to show a video. There's an animated video. It's about 3 or 4 minutes long. You can find it on our website. It's actually really cool. That shows how the tunnel boring machine worked and the route that it took and how it landed in the river and got pulled out. If you're into that kind of thing, it's really well done.
Greg, I remember from the advisory committee reports on this that the timing was very fortuitous for the district because some severe water events happened in December, just about the time you were almost complete and just about the time after you were complete. And it added so much capacity to what you were able to do with outfall that you avoided some what would have been really severe overflow events, most likely.
It could have. Yep, we're very proud of that. And as importantly, in 2025, I wish I had the pictures because some of you are in here, the mayor and Councilor Garlington in particular, and the mayor of Oregon City. We had an open house. So we completely remodeled the Gladstone pump station, our what we call a big house, one of our main pump stations over by 24-Hour Fitness. And we thought it would be fun to invite the community and you folks in to see it. After it was all done. So it was a fun evening. We had some curious neighbors that stopped by. And again, that facility is completely rehabbed and should be good for the next 20 to 30 years. Also want to talk about, the Intertie 2 expansion. So we basically peel off flow that would come down from Happy Valley that would normally go to our Milwaukee facility with a big pump station up at the Lowe's and CarMax area. That pump station and force main pressurized pipeline was installed in 2010, 2011, and winds its way down Johnson Road along I-205 across the 82nd Drive Bridge and to our facility. Right now, we can bring 10 million gallons a day through that facility, and we're doing an upgrade that will increase that to 30. We very much appreciate your patience through this project. We've been tearing up streets, we've been having detours, and we've had surprisingly few complaints, but we're trying to be responsive. If anybody has any complaints, please come to me and we'll get them squared away. We will make your roads right. We actually walked. We're working with Justin, and we walked the alignment and agreed on the areas of asphalt that we're going to replace. We're going to start that in late June and finish up in August. The overall project will go through the end of the year, but we should have the asphalt in Gladstone buttoned up by the end of the summer. So again, thank you for your patience. As far as partnering with Gladstone, this is our 9th year with our Solve Summer Waterways Cleanup Series. We always do it Meldrum Bar, Clackamas, High Rocks. We've collected over 30,000 pounds of trash. Also, the River Rescue Program, we're pleased that the Good Neighbor funds were allocated to support that program. We're also coordinating with the city on the construction of the Trolley Trail Bridge and setting aside a portion of our land for material laydown and equipment space for that. And we will continue to support Movies in the Park and the Gladstone Community Festival. And if you have any other events, community events that you think you could use some help, some sponsorship on, please let me know. We're always looking to get visible in the community. It's very challenging in Oregon City, Westland, and Gladstone in particular, because they don't get a bill from us. And so any way that we can connect with our customers in Gladstone so that they know who we are, what we do, and why we matter, we like to take advantage of that. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we do that pass through of your costs onto our customers who only see a Gladstone water bill and may not recognize the name.
Right.
But you certainly play a significant role in what goes on in that whole process. Thank you for being a partner with us. Are there any questions or comments from members of the council? Councilor Garlington.
So I just, congratulations on your awards. Clearly you get them because you deserve them. So
Thank you.
my hats off to you there. What was the completion date of the IT2 project?
That it will be online by the end at the end of the year.
So not just all the paving you were talking about, but the whole project.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Congratulations.
upgrading,
Okay.
we're installing the pipeline and upgrading the pump station.
Okay.
But as far as the impact on Gladstone roads, will be done by the end of the summer.
All right, Greg, thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate it.
Oh, may I ask one question?
Go
May I
ahead.
ask one? When you guys are, and thank you for being here in your presentation. But I'm just kind of curious when some of the considerations from you guys when looking at the rate increases, when you look at that 5%, is there a conversation about, necessity? I'm sure obviously everything's more expensive, but 1%, 10%, or is it just kind of a solid? Because it's hard to want to,
Right.
charge people more.
Well, so it's really tied to our capital improvement plan. We publish a 5-year capital improvement plan, but we really have like a 12-year capital improvement plan that we use for financial planning. So we're constantly struggling, energy is going up more than 5%. Chemicals are going up more than 5%. Labor and PERS are going up more than 5%. So we're constantly tightening our operations budget in order to make sure that we can fund that capital budget. That's the big place that a lot of communities go sideways, is that they tighten and tighten and they don't have the reasonable, predictable rate increases to fund the capital projects. So then you get to a point where we need to replace the treatment plant. And so rather than going up 5% a year, there's several communities in Clackamas County that are looking at multi-year double-digit rate increases because they're not doing the planning or weren't able, for whatever reason, to or either get the political support and understanding in the community about the importance of this infrastructure, or didn't anticipate regulatory requirements that are coming down the road, or just let their system fail. And frankly, Gladstone 10 years ago was kind of in that same boat. And you guys have done a miraculous job of pulling yourself out of that hole, by the way. But that's what we're trying to avoid. And yeah.
And that 5% is pretty steady. When you look into the future, is that something that
Yes,
is
that's
important?
our commitment for the foreseeable future. Yes.
Speaking as someone who serves on the advisory board, the surprising thing, we get these wonderful financial reports, great detail. It tracks all kinds of things of costs that tend to go up and down. And we make adjustments if we have good solid revenue from interest for funds that are invested. That helps keep costs down. If there are the kinds of things that you talk about where their costs are higher, that makes it difficult. But the one thing that's consistent from one year to the next is that steady rate of about a 5% increase. You've committed to a set of rates far into the future. And rather than saying, this is what we need to do, and this is how we have to adjust rates to make it happen, this is what we're committed to as far as our rates. This is how we have to adjust internally to make sure that we can still do our capital improvements and keep the rates at this level. Is that an accurate summary of how it works?
Yes, it's very much an orchestrated effort to, the people that are facing these challenges right now are looking at borrowing rates that are really high. Wes's average debt rate is 1.5%. We borrowed money, like 4 or 5 years ago at 0.87%. So because we keep the kind of the air in the balloon, we carry pretty big cash reserves and construction fund moving forward, but it gives us the flexibility to borrow when it's affordable, and to manage our finances into the future with flexibility, right, being proactive rather than reactive.
Well, thank you for that explanation, for coming tonight, and for being a good partner with us. We appreciate it, Greg.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, I don't believe we have any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight. So we will begin as usual with our consent agenda. These items will not be open for much discussion, but they are in the report, and I commend them to you, particularly item number 7, which regards new playground equipment from Buell Recreation for Nick Shannon Park. If you're interested in knowing a lot of details about that new equipment, look at item 7. But I will read the consent agenda. Number 1, approval of May 12th, 2026 regular minutes. Approval of April 2026 bank balances, the budget report for the period ending April 30th, 2026, approval of April check register, legal costs for the month of March 2026, department head monthly reports for May 2026. That's another thing I would recommend that you read. They're always interesting. And approval to purchase new playground equipment from Buell Recreation for Nick Shannon Park. Does any member of the council wish to pull out any item from the consent agenda?
I'd like to pull number 7.
Okay. Councilor Garlington has requested to pull item number 7. And before we get to that, let's go ahead. Well, no. I can never remember which order we do it. Do we do the item pulled, or we do the rest first?
Do the rest first.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? All right, is there a motion to approve items 1 through 6 of our consent agenda?
So moved.
In a second?
Seconded.
All right, it's been moved by Councilor Huckabee and seconded by Councilor Blaug to approve items 1 through 6 of the consent agenda. Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Garlington,
Yes.
Counselor Farley,
Yes.
Counselor Labonte,
Yes.
Counselor Blaug,
Yes.
Counselor Mitchell,
Yes.
Counselor Huckabee,
Yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, by a vote of 7-0, the first 6 items of the consent agenda are approved. Let's look to item number 7. Councilor Garlington.
I was just concerned about the fact that we're going from 5 swings down to 2. on this project. I guess I'm not sure why it would be so difficult to at least be 3.
I don't know if that's a rhetorical question, but it comes down to cost, and the Parks Board has vetted this proposal a couple of times. You can also see that we've tried to remove items that Public Works can do themselves, but at this point, to add any additional amenities to this site here would take us over our budget.
I just feel like this, when we put in a park like for something like this, I mean, I understand that our budget, we have a budget and that needs to hold true at times, but also look to the future of what we have in that park. And
So most of we did a lot of outreach for Nick Shannon.
yes,
There's a large number of community surveys that we did, and a lot of the stuff that was picked was based on that survey about what people wanted, especially in the neighborhood, what they wanted that park. And there was a lot of emphasis on things that are like, climbable and interactive and not necessarily just the swing structure. And I know we had looked at really wanting to put in like an accessible swing, but that wasn't in the budget if we were doing some of these other things. And the other issue is it's a really small park. And so if we put lots of swings, the fall zone on that, it takes up so much space that as you start to add more swings, it just basically takes over the entire park, and now all you have is swings.
I
basically.
just feel like when I take the kids to the park, one of the things you always do is wait for the swings. Doesn't matter what park you're at, you're waiting for a swing. And for us to go so much smaller on that, I understand the budget and why, yes, we will approve it. I just wanted to be able to have that conversation as to bringing up my concern to making it smaller rather than at least keeping some of the size of it together. So I make a motion that we approve number 7 of the consent agenda.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, well, thank you, thank you, Councilor Gronington, for raising the question publicly. Thank you, staff and Parks Board Liaison, Councilor Blaug, for providing answers to that question. And is there any more discussion on this item? The report is pretty detailed. It's a lot longer than just the pictures I had seen earlier, so I appreciate knowing what the substantial installation cost there is for something like this. But we know it has to do with safety, of safe footings and all the rest. It's currently a sand park, and I see Nancy, you're here. Yeah, is it going to be more of a composite wood type surface? Okay, so the surface will change. I've been going there a lot lately with my 7-year-old grandson who has a lot of digging toys. And as far as the sand digging place, it's wonderful. So it will change a little bit of that element too. But we'll find options for that in other parks. I think it serves that neighborhood very well. It's very popular. It's in an area where children can just leave their homes and go there knowing that it's safe and nearby, and and will have a lot newer amenities and amenities that the community has asked for. So we've had a motion and a second. Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Blaug,
Yes.
Counselor Labonte,
Yes.
Counselor Farley,
Yes.
Counselor Garlington,
Yes.
Counselor Huckabee,
Yes.
Counselor Mitchell,
Yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, the motion passes 7-0. The purchase is approved. I don't believe we have any correspondence, and I think we have a request to speak for Gladstone City event announcements.
We do. Nicole Quackenbush.
Hello.
Hi, Nicole. The microphone's
Still on.
already on.
Yes, there it is. Well, good evening, Mayor and City Councilors. For those who may not know me, my name is Nicole Quackenbush, and I currently serve on the Gladstone School Board. I am also involved with the community-led Save Gladstone Schools Political Action Committee, or PAC, in support of a school bond measure that will be on the November ballot. I want to share a couple of upcoming community events related to the bond process. First, the Save Gladstone Schools PAC will be holding a meeting on Wednesday, June 17th at 5:30 p.m. at High Rocks Restaurant. I'd like to thank Elle and the team at High Rocks for generously hosting us. Now that the school board has officially referred the bond to the ballot, we'll be discussing next steps, volunteer opportunities, and ways community members can get even more involved as we move forward. Second, for anyone interested in learning more about the bond itself, the school district will be hosting a community information session the following night on Thursday, June 18th at 6 p.m. In the Gladstone High School cafeteria. Board members, Superintendent Dr. Gray, and district staff will be available to answer questions and provide information about the proposed projects, costs, and overall bond package referred by the board, which I will add is 34% lower than the current bond rate. Whether you're interested in volunteering, learning more, or simply asking questions, we encourage you to attend one or both events. So thank you so much.
Thank you for coming, making those announcements. All right, we move now to our regular agenda. We have three items. Resolution 1257, amending Exhibit A of Resolution 1236 by revising the solid waste rate structure schedule with Gladstone disposal effective July 1, 2026. Then we have Ordinance 1545, Residential Development Code updates per state requirements, and amend Gladstone Municipal Code GMC Chapter 17.78, home occupations to exempt adult foster care homes. And finally, item 11 is appointment to Park and Recreation Advisory Board. We have a vacancy there. So we will look to item number 9, and I look to staff for presentation of this item.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Want to make sure we have another PowerPoint, so it's not 2024, hopefully. Will and Pam are here tonight. As you know, we have an exclusive franchise agreement with Gladstone Disposal. They provide solid waste, yard debris, and recycling services within the city limits. So under the terms of the franchise, any rate increases are set by resolution with the approval of the City Council. The last time that Gladstone Disposal was here to ask for a rate increase was in May 2024. They did not come before you last year. I have made you aware that this year they're asking for a 9.75%, and they do have rationale for the rate increase. So we have Will, who's the Chief Financial Officer, and we also have Pam, who's co-owner of the company, that are going to go through a brief presentation.
All right, thank you. Will, would you like to come forward? Welcome to both of you. Push the button on there and the microphone will stay on. And
Thank
then
you.
just kind of aim it toward your mouth and we'll be able to hear you.
Okay, well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to come forward tonight to discuss rates. As Jackie mentioned, it is a larger rate increase, but we have, I think, a good case and rationale to present to you. And just to give a little background on the process, at a state level, ORS 459 gives municipalities the authority to grant a franchise to solid waste haulers. And we've proudly been your solid waste hauler for 43 years. And we really love the city of Gladstone and appreciate the opportunity to serve the city of Gladstone. Regionally, there's Metro, an authority over the solid waste shed. And basically what that means is that the flow of disposal tons, particularly in our case, because we're so close to the Metro transfer station, goes to a Metro facility, disposal facility. And then locally, as Jackie mentioned, Gladstone Ordinance 1383 establishes the franchise with Gladstone Disposal, and Annually, we prepare financial statements. There's a process we go through with the county that's very comprehensive. They have a rate consultant that ensures, operational consistency from year to year, really goes into an in-depth review of the numbers. And then we provide the Gladstone portion of that to Jackie when we come in for a request. And of course, she has the county as a resource too, to discuss that review process. There are a few considerations outlined in Ordinance 1383 for rates, but the ones we tend to discuss the most are the ones up on the PowerPoint presentation. With the most notable one of those, or the easiest to sort of use for decision points, being the comparable rates. And so, but the others, cost of performing the service, anticipated increases in cost, and reasonable operating margin. But for the comparables, I think it really highlights where, we're at in terms of the service and fair price we offer in the city of Gladstone. So for this particular increase, you can see that there's a current rate column, which is the first one, a proposed rate column by cart size for a residential home. And then you can see comparable cities: Oregon City, Clackamas County Urban, Milwaukee, Westland, and Gresham. And by far the best rate packages there are Gladstone and Oregon City. Those are both cities we serve. And we do strive to keep rates really low and reasonable for our customers. For this rate adjustment, the impact for most residential customers would be $3.61, and that it has been 2 years since the last increase. So that's approximately, you take that in half, it's $1.80 a year on the increase, and $22.90 monthly for most commercial customers. So reasons for the rate adjustment request this year are, of course, we, like many other businesses and residents, experience all the inflationary impacts. But the single biggest reason is our cost structure. 31% is disposal, and Metro has increased their rate 15% over the last 2 years since our last rate adjustment request. And so that has a big impact to us, as you might imagine. Inflation on garbage and trash index over the last 2 years has been 10%. And just looking at a simple composite approach of that, if you take 31% of our cost structure times 15% and the remaining 69% times the 10%, that comes out to a composite increase of 11.5%. And we're not requesting quite that much, but that sort of highlights the reason for the need over the last 2 years. And we also have included just a little bit of a fuel assumption. We at the time we made the request, assumed a short term because we didn't want to make guesses about what might happen. So we put in 3 months of increased fuel prices and then forecasted for those to return to normal. So that is really the biggest impact to us, though, is the disposal. And of course, we do have inflationary impacts, but those are really the reasons for our request tonight. So pretty simple presentation. Glad to answer any questions or go back to any slides or data points that you'd like to see.
It's helpful that you're able to focus on just, three primary issues that impact your costs. And as far as the short term on the fuel, from your mouth to God's ears, I guess on that one, we're all hoping that will be shorter term than it's looking. But I appreciate the analysis of this. Are there questions from council members? Councilor Garlington has a question.
Can you go back? One of my questions was going to be, what is the percentage of people that use the 35 gallon? Is that 60?
It's approximately, it's in the
people?
40, mid 40 range. The other piece of that is, are going to be residents who are in a 20 gallon. So when I put up here a residential user, that 62% will see that increase or less. That means 62% are either in a 35-gallon cart size or a 20-gallon cart size.
Okay, and then for the apartment complexes and or places that use the big bins, that's going up. You said it says here $22.90 a month.
So
Okay,
so
and that's per bin.
So in that case, what I'm representing here, 43% of commercial customers are in a 2-yard container dumpster or less. Some might be just in a cart, commercial cart. And those users will see $22.90 or less on their monthly increase. There are some customers who are, of course, in a larger size container, and whether it be a 4-yard or 6-yard, and they'll see a little bit more than that in terms of dollars. It would be different, but the increase request for those would be 9.75%.
Okay, so in a unit that has more than one bin, it's about $23 a month per bin. Am I hearing that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
For a 2-yard, if they have a 2-yard bin.
Okay, thank you.
So, and this is probably hard to generalize, but typically, how many units in an apartment building would there be if they had the typical 2-yard dumpster? Is that a 6-unit building, an 8-unit building?
That's about right.
Okay, yeah. The boss would know better than
Okay.
me on that. So that would be about right.
So if that's built into rent and divide it by, let's say 7, so around a $3 increase. So maybe rent might go up by $3 if if this is one of the included utility services in a rent in an apartment. So does that help with your question too? So per month, yeah. Okay. And we get the bill every 2 months. So double these for the actual amount that you're paying. At least I do. And I'm thinking most everybody else.
Most do receive it every 2 months.
Yes. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Need for clarification on this? Maybe your husband pays the bill. See, that's when every time I get to bill paying, I have to say, is this the month I paid or did I do it last month? And very good. All right. So we have this item before us. There is a recommended motion on page 9-2. Would someone like to make the motion?
I just do want to.
Mayor Milch, can I step in for just 1 moment, please?
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me okay?
Emily's online. Okay.
So to step in, would you take a moment and solicit the public to see if anyone wants to offer comment on this proposed rate increase? That's something that the law requires, just a simple opportunity for the public to comment, and then you're all good to proceed.
Thank you, Emily. All right, I will open a public hearing for any residents who happen to be here tonight or online who would like to comment on this particular agenda item. Is anyone present interested in commenting or offering testimony regarding this? And is anyone online who is attending virtually interested in doing that? You can do that, show that by raising your hand using the raise hand feature in Zoom. And I'll look to Tammy.
I do not see any raised hands.
Okay, so there's no one either in person or virtually wanting to testify on this item, but thank you, Emily, for reminding us, giving people that opportunity. Okay, and now I'll accept a motion.
If I just may.
Okay.
I really appreciate you guys being here, and I fully understand the premise of the rate increase. And I respect you guys greatly. I personally am in a mindset of trying to not increase rates. So I just want to share my respect for you, but just to kind of let you know where I'm coming from with that.
Thank you.
All right. Would someone like to make a motion? All right.
I
Councilor
make a
Garland?
motion to approve resolution 1257, amending Exhibit A to resolution number 1236 by revising the solid waste rate structure schedule effective July 1st, 2026.
All right, is there a second?
I second that.
All right, it's been moved by Counselor Garlington and seconded by Counselor Blaug. Any further discussion? All right, Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Mitchell,
Yes.
Counselor Huckabee,
I just want to say I agree that you guys are spectacular and you deserve an increase. I think this one's too high at this time. Maybe we could have done it in two separate, years, but almost 10%. I'm going to have to vote no.
Counselor Garlington,
Yes.
Counselor Farley,
I'll vote yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I vote yes.
Thank you. Counselor Labonte,
No.
Counselor Blaug,
Reluctantly, I'm going to vote yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, the motion passes 5-2. The resolution is adopted. Thank you very much for coming tonight and sharing.
Thank you.
with us.
Appreciate it.
Now, this next item involves legislative changes to our code. And just leading up to this, is this one where I should also have a script for doing that? I see
It
Tammy
is.
getting that out. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I will read from this script for what we do for legislative land use hearings. And it's just things that I read every time, and it kind of dictates the order in which we present this. So we'll get the staff report in a few minutes, but let me start with this. So this is the public hearing on ordinance number 1545 is called to order. And the proposed amendments would update Gladstone's municipal code, several chapters regarding housing issues, home occupation standards, and definitions and residential standards for electronic message signs as another item. The order of business we will follow in conducting this hearing will be presentation of the staff report, entry of correspondence, if any, into the record, public testimony, additional staff comments, questions from the council. Then we will close the hearing and have no further testimony from the audience and the council will discuss it and make a decision. So regarding testimony, any interested person may present testimony concerning the proposed amendments. The public hearing is your opportunity to comment on the proposal before the city makes a decision. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want you to give us your point of view. Help us to understand why you've drawn your conclusion and how it relates to the proposal. Public testimony for this hearing will be called for in 3 groups: testimony in favor of the proposal, testimony opposed to the proposal, and neutral testimony. And if you wish to speak, please fill out one of the testimony forms and submit it to the city recorder. I will recognize those persons wishing to speak, and any questions should be addressed through me. When you testify, please state your name and address for the record, as this hearing is being taped. If you are participating online, click the raise hand button at the appropriate time and wait to be recognized. And if you are participating via telephone, dial *9 to raise your hand at the appropriate time and wait to be recognized. At this time, I would like to ask members of the City Council if they are abstaining from this matter or need to declare any conflicts of interest. So please indicate the nature of the conflict of interest and indicate whether you intend to participate in or abstain from the hearing. So I will start down in the end with Councilor Huckabee.
No conflicts participating.
Okay, Councilor Mitchell,
No conflicts participating.
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 and I will respond the same, no conflict of interest, and I will be participating. So now we will ask city staff to present the report for us.
Thank you, Mayor Milch and members of council. We do have another PowerPoint for you, so we'll get that queued up.
Tried to keep it somewhat brief, but while that's getting set up, we did call this the residential standards and code cleanup. I tried to link it to residential standards as much as possible to keep it all under the same umbrella. It strays a little bit with some definitions and things, but we will talk about that as well. Thank you. So there's really two main buckets of where these code changes are being proposed this evening. One is to respond to Oregon state legislative changes that have happened over the past 3 years or so that aggressively target housing and childcare shortages, but mostly housing. There have been a lot of changes for cities to need to implement, and the main ones we'll talk about this evening do require a city to either make a change or adopt state law directly by July 1st of this year. So we're coming right up on our deadline. We are ahead of a lot of cities in getting this work done, but we don't have a lot of time before we'll need to implement state law directly if we don't move forward with this evening.
So to clarify, you're
yeah.
saying that if we don't get this into our code, we still have to follow
Right.
the new state rules.
Yes.
And this puts it into our code, so it's out there and open to
It
everyone.
makes it a lot easier to be able to implement from a staff perspective because then we just have new code standards that we're relying upon rather than needing to apply the ORS language directly. But yes, they're both meant to reflect each other.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes. So then in addition, I was aware that the representatives from Cracksburger Middle School did come to council and talk about potentially putting an electronic message center sign. Cracksburger is zoned residentially, so that does affect our sign code standards in residential zones, particularly as they pertain to schools, community-based organizations, those types of things, not necessarily residential developments. We aren't proposing that we would have electronic message center signs for those. But we did look at that to put some standards in place, and the definitions then are reflective for all electronic message center signs. Speaking of community-based organizations, we use the term community center throughout our code, but we don't define it. And we have the term church in several of our code sections, but we don't define that either. So looking to just clear up what land uses with tax exempt status are, define those, and kind of make it more clear where those are permitted in the code. And then finally, we've had some confusion. We've heard from neighbors about home occupation standards and how those pertain to, in particular, adult foster care, but other residential type home situations. So we're wanting to clarify that to make it very easy for everyone to understand what the rules are. So we'll go into a little bit of detail on each of those. So Senate Bill 974 was passed in 2025 and House Bill 4037 was passed in the short session this year, 2026. And both of them make changes to how any city in the state of Oregon reviews residential land use developments. So the requirement is that any residential development application be reviewed at the staff level. So that's where it is important that we have clear standards that the Planning Commission and City Council have reviewed and adopted so that when we're reviewing it, it's easy to apply those standards as the city decision makers would like them to be. And I do think we have that. We've been working on that. We've updated our design review standards recently. We've just gone through an ADU update. So we have put the pieces in place to be able to make this change fairly effectively in Gladstone, I think. Zone changes that allow higher density residential. This one has been a surprise for a lot of cities that I've been presenting it in, that any one who wants to upzone an R5 parcel to an R7.2 to an R5 or an MR, they can do that now with a staff level review. So there's still criteria that apply, but making it a lot easier to put more units of housing. Planned unit developments, which we don't get a lot of here in Gladstone because there is a minimum lot size for that we don't have a lot of large parcels that would apply to that. So I don't think that's a very likely scenario here, but variances to residential standards. So wanting to vary a setback or some sort of criteria to a residential standard is now a staff level review as well. We already review adjustments administratively, which is an up to 20% change. Variances allow more than 20%, but have very clear, well, not clear and objective. They are subjective standards, but they are strict. So adherence to those standards is still required. Public notice, currently we have a 250-foot notice for many of our application types. We are planning to keep that for any applications that we can. So any kind of commercial or industrial reviews, but anything that is residential will need to be a 100-foot mailed notice. That doesn't preclude the city from still having information on the website, sending it out on social media, putting it in the newsletter, all of those things that we're doing to make sure that people know things are still happening in the city. And then another big one is that after July 1, any residential application that's submitted that's subject to clear and objective standards can only be appealed from the applicant. So if someone submits an application that doesn't have any variances or adjustments to it and doesn't have a conditional use permit, it will only be the applicant who has the right to appeal it. So that's a pretty big change in how things are processed. I might pause there and see if there's any questions, because that's the biggest amount of information that we need to cover.
So these are the reasons why we need to, or we've taken steps to come into compliance. These are things often that have come down at state level.
These are all straight from the state.
Okay.
Everything listed here is straight out of Senate Bill 974 and House Bill 4037.
All right.
Yep.
Questions from counselors? Counselor Garlington.
Can you repeat that last one more time?
Yes.
Okay.
So
thanks.
say someone comes in to put in a subdivision or build a small apartment building. They meet all the standards to just apply for that design review or subdivision application. It will be a staff level review, and only the applicant will be able to appeal it. So there'll still be a public notice period where anyone can provide public notice to be reviewed with it, but no one could then submit for an appeal of the decision. We have received, late in the time I've been here, one appeal from a neighbor who did not like a home occupation permit that was issued. And so that appeal, because it was a staff level decision, went to the Planning Commission. If we get an application that comes to our Planning Commission, so that would be like a commercial or industrial development, those can be appealed to City Council. It just doesn't happen very often here. People seem to find Gladstone's regulations fairly reasonable for land development.
Okay.
And an applicant would generally appeal if they were seeking to do something and somehow the decision from the city was to deny their right to do it. Would they also, or would they appeal certain portions of the
Right.
decision?
Yes, so I do, it's more common to have an appeal to a condition of approval.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
So that could still happen, and those would go to the Planning Commission.
All right.
Mhm.
Counselor Farley, did you have a question? Oh,
I just have one more. I'm not sure if we're here yet or not, and I'm getting conflicting from you versus what I read. So I'm
Okay.
sure there's clarification. I just need it.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Planned unit development, it says, is now going to the city as opposed to the Planning Commission. So I have in my mind, a couple of months, almost a year of my life that I fought the Albertsons project. And in my opinion, people in our city they should have say in what's happening. If nothing else, they should be able to know rather than something just passing through. And all of a sudden now the bulldozers show up and nobody understands how they got there. So tell me what the difference is between what is written here and when you said a commercial or development.
Commercial and industrial developments are still going to go to Planning Commission. They're still going to have those hearings. They're going to have the notice 250 feet out to neighboring property owners to be able to come to the hearing to know what's happening. So that stays the same with this. This is just residential applications that the change is happening. So a planned unit development is, in this may be a unique term. We have it in our development code, but it's more common in cities like Wilsonville, where they have large areas where they've annexed in and have large amounts of land to develop. And what you would do with a planned unit development, generally they're over 2 or 3 acres in size, maybe closer to 5 or 10 acres. And maybe you have some wetlands or some significant trees on a portion of it that can't be developed or shouldn't be developed. On a planned unit development, what that usually means is that you preserve those more natural features, or you provide a park or something like that. And in exchange, you get maybe smaller lot sizes on the rest of the parcel. So it's like an agreement between the developer and the city on how to develop a piece of property that's not clearly meeting your standards in your code. And again, we just are unlikely to see that kind of a larger development in Gladstone.
May I just chime in and,
Mhm.
oh,
Yep, no.
well, with the exception of course, there's a 4-acre parcel adjacent to one of our schools that is looking to be sold to that kind of, yeah, would fall directly.
That's true, although as far as I know, that would be just a straight subdivision. So they wouldn't, without having those kinds of needs for transferring development rights. It could be a planned unit development. You're right. If it had identified wetlands or something on it, they could potentially pursue that.
So with this, it takes out the voice of the people who live in the city.
You still,
Because I trust you,
yes,
but I'm looking beyond myself and your position and you in your seat.
yes.
So for me, protecting someone who's going to own my house in 25 years.
Right. So
That's my concern.
you will still have the voice. You have the 14-day period where you can submit a letter into the record, and your voice is then part of the record and part of the review. But once the decision is made, you then can't appeal it unless you are the one who proposed it.
But how do you ever hear about it if it doesn't go to planning and it's in a book that,
Yes.
as a resident, I'm looking through this book and I say, oh, well, they're going to do this and they're going to, they're putting in, 40 units in this space.
Yes. So if it's within 100 feet of, if you live or own property within 100 feet of it, you will get a mailed notice. Still, right now, we send those within 250 feet. So this does reduce how many property owners are getting notice of that.
Right.
So it does put the onus on the city in a way to make sure we're putting it in the newsletter. I always put it in my monthly reports that are in the planning commission packets and the city council packets. So we just had a partition application that took a while to be complete, and that's been in the monthly report. So anyone who looks at a council packet, anyone who looks at, I'm not sure if I put that one in the newsletter or not, but we have used the monthly newsletter, and we would if there was a large application, like such as Cracksburger potentially developing some of the property. That would be something we'd want to make wider.
Or in the future of Gladstone, should they develop the Seventh-day Adventist property?
Right. Sure.
I mean, that's significant for this city. So to take away the voice of the people, and
so that isn't a commercial property. So that would definitely go to a planning commission hearing. That would have all the same rights as we have right now. The Seventh-day Adventist is commercially zoned office park.
okay, I hear you. I do hear you. And I do love the work that you do, and I appreciate everything you do.
Sure. No, I understand. This is a big change for all cities to need to consider how their residents are getting notice of things. And it's something the Oregon Planning Association has commented on at the state level and is concerned about as well. It's a big change, and the state legislature has definitely said housing at all costs right now. It's superseding all other concerns. So it's a big change.
But I just don't feel like we have to always do what Salem says. This is our town. This is our city. And I think it's important for everyone to know that we still have the say at times.
Yes, that is true. However, if we don't follow these rules, then an applicant can force an injunction, and we are required to follow this. It is state law. So we would just then be spending money to defend it. Unfortunately. And you'll note, I was going to say this on the end of my planning commission recommendation, but we did draft some language about the planning commission feeling like this is a big change that we didn't have local say in, and so reluctantly recommend approval to comply with state law and understand the need for housing, but that it should be more balanced.
So
Yeah, and just want to remind the council, we're at the stage where getting staff report. You can ask clarifying questions. We're not deliberating yet, so refrain from maybe expressing positions on how to do this, but there will be time for that in the process. So go ahead, Councilor Farley, with your question.
I was curious when you talked about the zones and higher density. Is that in the world of some developer buying a house, knocking it down, and then building a structure on top of it? Is that what these zones you were describing are?
Yes, so a zoning change would typically be larger than just a site of a house. Right now, you could come in and build up to 4 units on any lot that's big enough in Gladstone to do that, and that's the middle housing rules. All of our setbacks and heights and standards apply, so that will be self-limiting about how large a property can build a structure, and those will continue to apply because they're in all of our zones. We have the same height and setback requirements.
All right, Councilor Block, I see your light on.
Yeah, I had a question about 1015, sufficient infrastructure.
Mhm.
The way that was worded was a little confusing for me. It's the may not be required. That seems unspecific.
Do you mind saying what page? Oh, 10-15. Got it.
10-15, sufficient infrastructure. So it's the column that is in yellow that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the
the traffic impact analysis.
Yeah, it's the may not be required.
It's meant to say may not be required. We cannot require it. Not that it possibly might not be required, but we may not require it. So we can change that to make it a traffic impact analysis.
It was one of those I'm like
is not
may
required.
not be required, but it could be.
We should change the may to is not required to make that more clear.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, we can do that with our update. So, and
I know
that's in both. That's going to be in both the R5 and the R7.2.
Yeah.
So I'll make note of that.
Yeah, I would like it to be very clear. And
yes.
So it's really saying the city may not require someone to have this.
We we no longer can require this.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right. It's may not.
That's a great
like you said, sounds
clarification.
very
It can be
vague,
read both ways.
Yeah, we may not, but or we could, you know.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go through a few more slides and then we can talk more about the overarching themes here. So House Bill 2138 also passed in 2025. This one's not effective until January 1st of the coming year, 2027, but we wanted to just include it as far as we know. There is some rulemaking happening at the state level about this, but we did have this reviewed by the Oregon Housing Authority, Housing Needs ONA, the group that reviews housing code. So we did get approval for just going ahead and getting this done now. This is regarding middle housing. And right now, if you have a home, maybe with an ADU or maybe just a home on an oversized lot, and you want to divide middle housing off of that, the home has to be considered a single family home, meeting all the standards for that type of a lot. Now we need to change it to say that existing home can be considered a middle housing unit. So it can be subject to the smaller lot sizes that would impart. So that's a change. It's not a huge change, but it is a change to how we process those. This, the third bullet here is Councillor Blaug's point about no traffic impact analysis or traffic related exactions are allowed to be required, 12 units or less. We will still collect our transportation SDCs, which is $47.56 per dwelling unit. So that is one thing we can continue to do. There's a density bonus for producing affordable or accessible units. That's not in the code, but that would be applied. We haven't seen anyone producing affordable or accessible units in Gladstone yet, but if they did, there would be some deed restrictions about how those remain affordable and accessible. And then potentially, if you were proposing a duplex, you could potentially build one more unit. If you're producing a triplex or a quadplex, you could potentially add 2 units. Again, you would still have to meet our setbacks and height. So this would have to be on an appropriately sized lot to do that.
And just to clarify, when you say we haven't seen people producing affordable or accessible, I'd like to think that everything is affordable to
Oh, yes.
somebody. But when you say affordable, we're really talking about
Regulated.
by what
Mhm.
with the definition in terms
Thank
of meeting income and that sort of thing.
That's right. Thank you.
okay.
Regulated affordable.
Regulated
Capital A affordable. I could have made this a capital
Okay.
A. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So then the final one is a concurrent review of preliminary land division and middle housing land divisions required right now in our code. And we just reviewed a 3-parcel partition that then may become a middle housing land division. They would like to do 12 ultimate lots, but had to do the 3 first. The code needs to be changed to say you can actually come in and propose all of the lots at the same time. This one I'm a little bit in favor of because it is hard to review a 3-parcel partition knowing it's going to be 12 future lots. I'd rather just look at the 12 lots and know what's the future plan is. So I think this is actually a positive change to do this for the code. And we can circle back on that if there's questions. Senate Bill 1537 and Senate Bill 974 both had design requirements that will sunset. So the way that the ORS was adopted, these will disappear in 2032 and 2033. So they're around for 6 and 7 years. So the cities must grant adjustments to standards for housing applications in residential and commercial zones. We already do grant adjustments to a lot of things with our residential development. This just requires that we do that until 2032. The state was not recommending that we make code updates for these because of the sunset clause, so these will be applied directly. The other is that we can't apply design standards to residential developments with 20 or more units, and that is not including multifamily. So if an apartment building or condominium building came in, we could still apply design standards. So again, very few potential for 20 or more units. I don't know if the Kraxberger property has that much capacity that the school district's thinking of parsing off, but that could be where this comes into play potentially. But otherwise, I'm not aware of other larger properties that this would affect.
Can you give us an example of the typical kind of an adjustment to standards that we frequently see?
We frequently see with our historic development patterns in Gladstone, we will see like my existing garage is 3.8 feet from the property line instead of 5, and I want to convert it to an ADU, but I'm not meeting setbacks. So like that came to the planning commission because it was over the 20% threshold. And they were able to notify the neighbors, have the discussion, talk about, making sure there's not impacts to the neighboring properties, but that was a variance. An adjustment would be up to 20% of a setback. Setbacks are the most common, I would say.
And often the reasons for those variances are that maybe you have a slope in the lot, you have a big boulder somewhere that, you had to build around, maybe a tree you're trying to preserve. And so you can't strictly meet the code, but if you adjusted it by less than 20% of the number that's in the code, it would fit.
Yes, and the way our code is written for adjustments and variances, there are criteria that there has to be some sort of unique characteristic that's either happening on your lot because of topography or existing development that was not done illegally. So you can't build something and then be like, I need a setback because I just built this shed and it's not meeting any standards. That doesn't count. But if you, bought a home and the shed in the back is not quite meeting setbacks and you want to redo the porch on it or something, sometimes that would need an adjustment if you're trying to follow the building line or something like that. So they're not very common, probably less than half a dozen in the 3 years I've been here. They're not super common.
Okay, we don't hear a lot of planning related things up here, so it helps to sometimes get some examples and understand it a little more to picture the typical kind of
Sure.
situation that
Sure.
might come before us.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so childcare centers. These came out of House Bill 3560 and Senate Bill 1099. And really the only change we need to make to our code is to allow daycare centers outright on all MR zoned properties. So we were already complying with allowing childcare centers in commercial and industrial zones. We just need to now add them to the MR zone. Electronic message center sign. So here's one where this is not coming from the state. So we'll switch gears just briefly that we are looking to see about adding electronic message center signs as a permitted use for schools, community-based uses, at religious institutions that are in residential zones. We are proposing that the sign be at least 70 feet from the nearest residential structure. Most street right-of-way is 50 feet, and then a typical sidewalk and planter strip would be another 20, 10 on each side. So that's about the distance of putting a sign on a property and then having a home across the street. The home would also generally have a 20-foot setback probably. So 70 feet is a reasonable distance to meet, but will also provide some protection if you happen to be next door to a property that would want to do one of these signs. Maximum height is already in the code at 5 feet with the maximum sign face of 32 square feet. So those are not being changed. Those are already in the code. But we did want to change the definition of electronic message center signs. So the Planning Commission did a work session and looked at a few different examples. We did find that we liked the Hillsborough example where the message stays static for at least 8 seconds, that when it changes, the change occurs within 4 seconds or it turns off while it changes. It can't flash, undulate, pulse, portray explosions, fireworks, flashes of light. So like taking off all the exciting parts that could be distracting to motorists and annoying to neighbors. And then limiting the brightness. So dawn to dusk is one standard and dusk to dawn has a different standard that meets the industry. So we did take this to the Gladstone Traffic Safety Advisory Board to review and approve the amendments being proposed. And I was told that there were no concerns with this language being proposed.
And one clarification, maximum height 5 feet. You mean the height of the sign itself, not the distance that it may be above the ground?
5 feet total for the structure of the sign.
Okay, for example, we have a restaurant currently in downtown that has a sign that is the
and that's a different standard because that's a commercial zone.
Okay.
So this would be like the monument signs you'd see in the front of a school that would have the reader board element. So that pole sign is not permitted in the residential zone.
Got it. Okay,
but it is in the commercial.
Okay, so when you talk about height, the current sign at Cracksburger is above the level of the street by, I would say, much more than 5 feet, but the sign structure itself is compared to the driveway that goes past it is lower.
Yes, so it would be the structure of the sign itself measured at the elevation where the base of the sign is.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought up an existing changing message sign in town because these standards, the definitions would be for all electronic message center signs. So anything that's proposed as far as how it flashes and changes message and things. So it does put our existing sign into a pre-existing non-conforming. So it was approved under different standards. If any changes were made to that sign, or if another sign was to be proposed, it would be required to meet these standards. We've also had a very good working relationship with the property owner of that sign and can mention that we're making these changes. And I think that would be something we could do as well.
All right.
Would I assume, as many things with our city, which is fine, it would be the city wouldn't, so let's say the sign doesn't comply, has a flash or something like that. Is that something that this folks in the city, you know,
Code enforcement?
yeah, the code are
Yes,
looking at,
so-
or is it like complaint driven? I guess
Right.
is what I'm saying.
Any sign constructed after the effective of this code change would need to meet these standards. And if not, the code enforcement officer would be able to, let them know they're not in compliance. Yep. But not an existing sign today. Existing signs today have are subject only to our standards that are in code today. And then we talked briefly about land uses with tax exempt status. We are using religious institution instead of church, which is in our code now. We have the word church, but no definition for it. So we'd like to use religious institution and change out where we use church so that it has a more broader definition for that. As well as community center, we added a definition because we have a community center and we have definition now proposed for that. Other community centers could occur that are not maybe city-based. If a community-based organization wanted to do a community center, they would now have a definition related to that. And then finally, home occupations, exempting residential home, and residential home has an ORS definition that does link it to residential care facilities, residential treatment facilities, adult foster care, any type of group living is now a protected, permitted anywhere in a residential zone in the city. So exempting that from home occupation to make that really clear. That is the entire packet of proposed code changes. The Planning Commission, again, they did add some language to talk about wishing that there was more local control over how applications are reviewed and noticed to community members, but did recommend approval of this application and adoption of Ordinance 1545. The staff report that went to the Planning Commission, that's in the Planning Commission recommendation, includes findings that address all of the applicable criteria, and the language has been reviewed by our Housing and Accountability and Production Office for the state of Oregon. That's what HAPO is. So we do have a sample motion there, but happy to continue the conversation and go back to any slides if anyone would like to talk about.
All right, let me express first thanks to the Planning Commission for being the first one to review this, to raise, I'm sure, a lot of questions and concerns, and maybe that resulted in some narrowing of or changes in how the language was done. We never like to be in a home rule state. We never like to be told how to run our cities. But there are issues that come up now and then where, as you say, the priority is on providing more housing. I don't know that this will have that effect, but in theory, that's the reason why these changes have been put upon us. I have a question. Is this something that cost us a lot of extra staff time to do? Were we able to get any resources, financial resources, as we have some time from the state on implementing this?
This was all under our current contract with 3J Consulting, so we did not receive any additional resources.
Okay, let's just be upfront about that. So now and then we do.
Well, and I also wanted to add that, we share the Planning Commission's frustration, and I know many of you are vocal and dedicated to the League of Oregon Cities. And I remember at the last conference, the executive director of LOC even said that cities, if we can get the ear of the governor or our legislators, we need to pump the brakes on the housing rules to see if they work first before they keep adding more, because they're getting ready to go into another legislative session. And Gladstone is unique and different than a lot of cities that they're trying to remove the barriers to increase affordable housing. So we're trying to comply with state, but we also understand we're very limited and compacted in Gladstone. So I do appreciate that the Planning Commission put their statement in the staff report for the council, but your voices can be heard through the League of Oregon Cities or with our state legislatures.
Gladstone's time to do planned unit development was about 40 or 50 years ago, I think. And those of you who live up on the ridge section of the community live in those developments that were put in then, and that maybe live on streets that wound their way around existing trees and that were platted in a certain way in order to meet some standards or some environmental standards that people wanted to live by. So we've been through that. If these codes had been in place then, maybe those neighborhoods would look differently than they do now. But as you say, this is an effort to get them into our code, even though we won't see development of that size within our existing boundaries anytime soon, except for the rare occasion when a site comes available of larger acreage, as we're potentially seeing very soon with the school site. Okay, other questions or comments from counselors? Counselor Mitchell, sorry.
Going all the way back to the message board sign. When you're saying 70 feet away from the nearest residential structure, the proposed school property at Cracksburger, is that in all directions 70 feet away?
Yes, the existing sign is more than 70 feet from the nearest. Yes, thank you.
There is a sign right now in front of the elementary school that it doesn't face any homes, except homes that are real far distance away. Would that comply as well?
I don't think so. In fact, when we were looking at this, I did bring that up, that I think, this would definitely allow a sign at Cracksburger. It would definitely allow one at the high school because the field is across the street from the high school. But I don't think it would be allowed at John Wetton with these potentially, which the school district, it doesn't have a plan to do that. The community center would not be subject to this same standard because it is zone C1.
All right, thank you. All right, let's take an opportunity to hear some public testimony if there is any. Is there anyone present who would wish to speak in support of this proposal? And I'll just say, this is a large amount of legislation that we're being asked to look at. I mean, theoretically, we could have broken this down into a number of separate things, but we would go through this script and this process at multiple meetings in order to do it. And, so I think it's efficient to do it all at once, but it is complex, and I acknowledge that. So do we have anyone who has expressed an interest in speaking in support of this proposal? Yes, we have a member of the community here tonight. All right, if you'd come forward and have a seat at the table. And if you want to just say your name and where you live, and then we'll give you a few minutes to share your thoughts.
My name is Malachi Malone. I live here in Gladstone off of Risley Avenue. My question is, looking at the size requirements for the sign, is there a requirement to where the sign has to sit back a certain amount of feet from a driveway, a sidewalk, or a curb?
There are existing standards for that. We're not proposing any changes to them.
Okay, I was just curious about that.
Yeah, yes.
All right, that's all I have.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? And anyone online? You're not seeing anything? We also want to give an opportunity for anyone who wished to speak in opposition to the proposal. Anyone from the public attending tonight? Or anyone online?
No hands raised.
Okay. And also an opportunity to provide any testimony that is neither in support of or in opposition to the proposal.
No hands raised.
Okay. So I guess there's no further testimony, further questions from the audience. And there were no questions raised. So you've answered the question that was raised.
Yes, and I will just note that Recorder Bannock pointed out that the community center is in C2. I said C1,
Oh.
it's actually in C2. So
Yeah.
I want to just make that clear on the record.
Thank you.
And then just to respond to Mayor Milch, to you saying that this is a big sweeping package of changes. And so just wanted to make it clear too, you know, as we're implementing these and as applications are submitted, if we find that something is difficult to implement the intent of the Planning Commission and the City Council, I'll definitely bring that forward to the Planning Commission so they can determine if a new revision needs to be made or something needs to be looked at. But I think this gets us into compliance with state law and we're able to proceed with it. But we will definitely, I as a, you know, as a consultant, but also as someone who really loves this community, I want to make sure I'm implementing what you as the council envisions and what the Planning Commission works hard to put into place as well. So it'll be a feedback loop as we go through.
There are sometimes things we just don't foresee, and
Mhm.
you know, we're given a theoretical approach to how to do something. We try to come into compliance, and then we
Yes.
discover, oh, you know, this is a little more difficult than we thought.
For example, there were 4 departments that worked on the home occupation language that we adopted just 2 years ago. And now we're needing to make a small adjustment because it wasn't clear for, you know, one piece of that. So things are always sort of iterating as we're applying them and using them.
All right. So again, thank you to the Planning Commission. Thank you to the Traffic Safety Commission for them weighing in on the aspect of this that affected them. Any? Sure. Okay. I recognize Natalie Smith, the Chair of the Planning Commission.
Natalie Smith, Chair of the Planning Commission. I stated this in, I believe, one of our last Planning Commission meetings. I think it would behoove us to start having, whether it's on quarterly basis, representatives and whomever that are aware of all these upcoming changes, that they come and meet with us and present what they think is on the agenda moving forward. So we have a better opportunity to give our input or make plans, et cetera. So I was hoping that maybe the council would consider something like that, where the representatives come and give us an update. Because this I mean, you were aware of it, but a lot of us didn't have any idea that these major changes were happening.
When you say representatives, do you mean our legislature representatives? Okay.
Yes, that pass these laws, if they would
Yeah.
please come before us and let us know what's going on so that we can be better prepared and think things through instead of having to rush to meet deadlines. So
All right.
I just think it would be a nice thing for the city and most importantly for our citizens.
Thank you for that input.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we've gone beyond the point of staff comments and questions and clarification. I'm going to close the hearing on TXT 26-02 and adoptance of ordinance 1545. And now it's time for deliberation by the council. Council members, this is your opportunity to share your comments and thoughts about specific parts of this, and we'll make our decision. Okay. Oh,
I share and as planning commissioner at one time. Oh, I lost the top of my microphone. Oh, it's gone. No, it's not. I feel like I don't love I feel it to be a bit of an overreach. I feel like we're losing a little bit of our control in our community. And I intend to be that protest no vote today on this. I appreciate everyone's effort for everything that they've done, but at a certain point, yeah. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Comments, questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move to approve TXT-26-02 municipal code amendments and to adopt ordinance 1545.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, it's been moved by Councilor Huckabee and seconded by Councilor Blaug. We've had an opportunity for discussion.
Point of order.
Yes.
I just had a note that Councilor Blog had mentioned maybe changing one word. So I don't know if this is the appropriate time or if we need to maybe update the recommendation. But I did make note of which pages that would affect in the packet, if this would be the appropriate time to say.
All right. I assume your motion is with the understanding that appropriate changes be made. Do we want to specifically work out the language now, or will we trust staff to provide that clarification in the final wording?
I think we already gave direction on just the simple word change.
Yeah, and I would just say as amended then, and
Okay.
we have the
All
word
right,
change.
as amended.
Okay.
Thank
I-
you.
I move to approve TXT 26-02 municipal code amendments and to adopt ordinance 1545 as amended.
Seconded.
All right. It is before us. Any further discussion? All right, Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Farley,
No.
Counselor Garlington,
No.
Counselor Huckabee,
Yes.
Counselor Mitchell,
Yes.
Counselor Blau,
Yes.
Counselor Labonte,
Nope.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, the motion passes 4-3.
Mayor, we will have to do a second reading now at the July 14th meeting since it did not pass unanimously.
All right, we will schedule that for our July 14th meeting.
Mayor, can we have a 5-minute bio break?
All right, we'll take a break right now and we'll come back in about 5 minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we are back from a short recess and we only have one more item on our regular agenda. I just wanted to add something with regard to the item we just approved by a narrow vote. I did comment that we had all this legislation together at once. So it was tonight, it was kind of an all or nothing decision for us. And I'm sure that there are items within that presentation that we would have unanimously supported with probably little hesitation. But I want to think back to something that planner Heather Austin said. As we implement these things and see that the effect that they have on the community, I want us to be real, to continue to be aware that it was by narrow margin that we passed it and that we might want to reconsider or revise or something we do later on. I hope this will not have too big an impact on our community because of the sort of, part of the uniqueness of who we are in a very small, confined city. But I don't want to act as though this has the full support of the community and strong consensus. It's something we will continue to examine and look at. And as items come to planning department, come to our to the staff or to the planning commission, I hope we'll stay informed and keep in mind of how the state's rules affect our community. We have an appointment to be made to the Park and Recreation Advisory Board. You may recall that we did appoint someone and it turned out that that individual for family personal reasons was not able to serve. And so we have a vacancy again, and we have 3 applications. I see Mr. Malone's name on the list and you spoke earlier, so I know you're present tonight. Is either Kathleen Hollingsworth or Emily Yarbrough present with us tonight? I don't always recognize everyone in the audience, so, okay. So we have, this is for a vacant term that expires 12/31/27. So the remainder of this year and all of next year. And we have 3 applicants for 1 position. And so we will put this to a vote of the council. You're set up. So cast a vote for one of the 3 applicants, please. Any discussion? All right. Tammy, will you call the roll?
Excuse me, Counselor Garlington,
Kathleen Hollingsworth.
Counselor Farley,
Malachi Malone.
Counselor Labonte,
Any one of them would be great. But Kathleen Hollingsworth.
can you speak into?
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
microphone?
I think any one of them would be great. But Kathleen Hollingsworth.
Thank you. Counselor Blau,
Yes. Mr. Malone.
do you have your microphone?
Mr. Malone.
Thank you. Counselor Milch, Mitchell, excuse me.
Malone.
Counselor Huckabee,
Yarbrough.
Mayor Milch.
Malachi Malone. And Mr. Malone is appointed with 4 votes. And thank you, welcome. The chair of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board is Nancy Turner. She's seated at this end of the room. And we look forward to you joining and serving on that group. We appreciate all the citizens who apply for these openings. As Councilor Levante said, we're getting great applicants showing a great interest. And if not for this opportunity, there'll be other opportunities for these people to serve our city. Okay. At the end of our agenda, we have our calendar for future items, and you can see some of the items that we already know are going to be on our agenda. Upcoming meetings, our next regular meeting, July 14th. We have a work session scheduled for June 23rd, 2 weeks from tonight. And we will be meeting, have a joint session with the Parks Board that night. So your first meeting will be 2 weeks from tonight with us if you're able to attend. Okay. We are at the point where we ask, is any business carried forward?
I just wanted to mention, because I'm not sure all of you have it on your calendars, I do need a quorum for the special meeting on June 30th. It will be Zoom only, and that is to finalize the IGA for the Gladstone Fire Station with Clackamas Fire District.
That was one of those things where we're not able to complete all the language in time to get it on tonight's agenda, but we want to have it done by July 1st.
Correct.
So that's why we're meeting on June 30th.
Yes.
That's at 5:30.
5:30 Zoom only.
Yeah, so you can, wherever you are, just tune in to make sure that we have a quorum and get it done. We won't ask people to come to the building and for something that we may accomplish pretty quickly. But it will be out there for the public to watch live with the rest of us.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
When will we have a copy of that IGA then? Or will we have a few days on that?
You'll get it a week before it, like the general packet.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a conflict and might be late.
Okay, good to know. All right. Was there business from the audience? Do we have anyone else present who's requested to speak from the audience tonight?
No, we did not have no one online, and I did not receive any other.
Okay. All right. We'll do business from the council. I'll start at my far left, Councilor Garlington, and we'll work this way.
Well, busy meeting tonight. Wow, good talks, everybody. I want to show appreciation for the spring market. I thought that the community center did a fabulous job. There was a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind, a little bit of sun, great food, great company, and a good turnout. So it was another really good event. I think that event will just grow every year, and I appreciate being able to be there with the Friends of Gladstone Nature Park. I wanted to say thank you for having the Clackamas Fire report in the packet. It was really nice to see that. It kind of that one more step to show we belong. I like that. I wanted to say congratulations to the kids out there for completing another school year. Probably a lot of short timers disease running around out there, but hang in there. It's almost done. Congratulations to our graduates. It's a milestone, as we all know. And I hope that every endeavor that they've dreamed of is coming true for them, and that they just grab those dreams and run with it. I had a chance to read over the laureate. It was wonderful. Those kids always do such a really good job on all their artwork and their poetry. And it's just really inspiring to see such creative kids in our school district. So I appreciated that too. June 19th is bingo at the community center with the Rotary. They are a great group of people to work with. And for June 19th, they are supporting the Friends of Gladstone Nature Park. So anybody that wants to come down and try their luck at the Daubers, we'd love to see you. I would like to wish everyone a very happy 4th of July. It'll be a big year. It'll be a lot of celebrating, but we still have ordinances within the city of Gladstone, and I'd love to see more people follow them. as much as they can humanly possibly follow them. So stay safe, stay sober, and stay where you are if you can't drive.
Thank you. Councilor Farley.
Mine's really short, sweet. School year's almost over. I have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful daughter who's graduating from John Wetton and going to Crexburger here in just a minute. And today was the day that she had to have her backpack with all of her school life in it, and she was feeling a lot of mixed feelings about it. So I, sat down with her and I was like, okay, well, honey, this is a big jump, this is a big move. What's the number one thing you're gonna miss from elementary? And she goes, I miss that I'm not going to be able to see the mayor anymore.
Oh.
And I swear to you, that's what she said. And I was just like, what? Out of all the things you could say? What do you mean? So I don't know, Mayor, if your granddaughter is also going to Cracksburger. I don't know what grade she was, if she's going or not. But if you could make a special trip to Cracksburger and you tell my daughter that her dad is the coolest guy in the world and got you to go, I'm going to get all the bonus points at the end of summer. So that's all I got.
Not much, just I appreciate all of you and the conversations and staff and all the work that goes into everything here, even though we might not always agree or want to follow particular rules and things that are kind of forced on us in a way, but just an overall appreciation of the community members that come out here to these amazingly exciting meetings. So don't let too many people know what's going on here, because it's pretty fun. But anyways, so just a lot of appreciation, love for you guys, and thank you all very much. That's all.
I wanted to wish everybody happy Pride. There's been some events that have already happened. If you're looking to drop in, Portland's Pride Festival is July 19th, I believe, and Oregon City's is August 29th. Also, happy Juneteenth. And we will be in the park on Sunday. Hope to see everybody there at Max Patterson. My work with the Metro Future 50 vision is ongoing. We've just finished our first phase of public outreach. And so there'll be another one in September. And we have started on some of the draft language for that. I will still be presenting to some of the city councils. So I've done Happy Valley and Oregon City already, and I think we're on schedule for Milwaukee. So it's always interesting to see other people's council chambers and how they run their meetings, and it's sort of fascinating. Yep, that's basically it.
Thank you, Councilor Mitchell.
Summer reading started up at Gladstone and Oak Lodge Libraries starting June 1st. It is for all ages. If you are an adult, you get to play a tic-tac-toe. If you're a kid, I believe it's some kind of maze thing. You get goodies for signing up, and then you get the tic-tac-toe, or if you follow the maze or whatever for the kids, you can enter in for prizes. Hand in your summer reading by August 1st. I want to mention that Milwaukee Juneteenth Community Festival will be on June 20th at Scott Park from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. On June 14th, Canby Pride will be at Waite Park from noon to 4 p.m. And also, side note, if you need that summer reading for kiddos right now, or just want to pick up a book, Portland Book Week is going on right now from June 5th to June 14th. 80 bookstores in the Portland metro area are participating.
Thank you. Councilor Huckabee.
Thank you. I have a few things, just a few more details. There's been a great committee working on Juneteenth, which is going to be at Max Patterson this Sunday. The time for that is 2 to 6. There will be free hot dogs and beverages and snacks. Guest speakers from the ACLU. Please bring your family, your friends, and chairs and blankets. We also have on July 4th, also in Max Patterson Park, there will be the Gladstone Police Department and Clackamas Fire Community Barbecue. That is 12 to 2. And also there will be free hot dogs there. Lots of hot dogs going on in Gladstone this summer. Let's see. I have the pleasure of sitting on the planning committee for our next League of Oregon Cities conference, which is in October. The committee has had several meetings now with great recommendations from all different sizes of cities, which is really great to make it spectacular for all of us. I think we have one more meeting till we wrap it up, and then hopefully we'll get a good agenda for counselors to view before they register, and mayors, sorry. I want to just wish everybody a safe and fun 4th of July. Happy Father's Day to everybody that fills that role. That's coming up very soon. And lastly, I just want to say that was a great testament to what an amazing mayor that we have who volunteers countless hours in our schools. So thank you. That's it.
Well, thank you. I am in finishing up year 16 of what potentially will be a 26-year stretch with at least 2 children, grandchildren in the Gladstone School District. And currently, I drop 2 of them off in the morning and volunteer there whenever there are opportunities that fit into my schedule and theirs. And last weekend, I helped oversee the field day on the playground next to John Wetton, on the large grassy area next to John Wetton. I do see your daughter quite frequently in the morning. At 5th grade, she is a little too cool to actually acknowledge me, but I try to, acknowledge and nod her and make some eye contact. And I appreciate that that's the highlight of her day, as it is, I know, for many children in the school. No, it's been great to get to know so many of those children, to know them by name, to have somebody say, "Hi, Mr. Mayor," when I'm walking through. And I've used those opportunities on Career Day and Everybody Reads Day to connect them with the city and help them feel and know that they are as important a part of the city as their parents and their grandparents. Having 2 young children like that we take care of before and after school, it connects me to the parks. And it just so happens that Nick Shannon Park is our park of choice right now, because we were going to Concord Park and scootering on the paths over there for a long time. And my youngest grandson, Ben, fell and broke his arm about 5 weeks ago. And he loves to play with sand toys. And Nick Shannon Park right now is a great place for digging the sand. And one of his best friends lives in the neighborhood. And when we get there early enough and she goes by on the school bus and sees that we are there, she gets on her scooter and rides up to the park to play with us. So the parks bring families together, provide opportunities for recreation, and some of them have been around with the same equipment for a long, long time. Nick Shannon is one of them, and I'm grateful that we use our resources, the limited resources we have for these improvements, to try to touch different parks in different areas. And we do that with involvement of the community, as you saw tonight. The reason we've chosen the things we have is because we involve people. And every time I talk to neighbors that I meet up near that park, they say, we are so looking forward to the new park equipment. So, that's something we do as a group. The day I did the field day at the school, I came home, I packed my suitcase. Administrator Betts picked me up in her car. We drove to Mount Hood Resort for the C4 annual retreat, where we talked with other city leaders and county staff about our goals for the coming year and how we can support each other and how we can set a legislative agenda that improves our cities. It's more locally focused than the League of Oregon Cities, but which many of you are involved in, but it's the same idea that we all recognize that we're facing similar issues, have similar concerns. We want to know how our legislators can support us, how we can support them, on how cities can support one another. We've shifted to a stronger focus on economic development at the statewide level and at the local level. And this was an opportunity for us to see how we might influence our legislators on things that are done statewide to make it easier for businesses to succeed in this state, because there are some tax rules and regulation rules that put us low on national lists of business friendliness. At the same time, we also have opportunities through that organization to have meetings in cities where we share success stories of things that we're doing at a local level that really enhance business. And Gladstone is one of these places now, as you're seeing with our talk of downtown revitalization and the new beer library coming in and other things, that we're starting to see much more in that area than we've had in the past. And we have a variety of different types of business concerns here in our city, and that has been a priority for us over the last 3 or 4 years. So I came home from that, and I was the only mayor to attend both that event and to march in the Rose Festival Parade in Portland, along with 50 other mayors, and many of whom you probably know from having attended those LOC conferences. Coastal mayors, Coos Bay, North Bend, Seaside, what were the other ones? Rockaway Beach. Milwaukee mayor was there, Cornelius, Ashland, all the way from down almost to the border to California. A lot of small cities that I didn't even recognize. I had to look them up to find out, you know, there was a mayor there. We came along one street. We got to wear the sashes that I held up earlier, that I showed you earlier. We came along one street, and there was a young couple standing on the side holding a baby with a sign that said, "My grandpa is the mayor of," and Idaho, I can't think that's what it was, Oregon, which I looked up is a city of about 156 population. But that mayor was marching in the parade and went over and gave his child a hug, and gave his grandchild a hug. And that was a nice thing. You know, the whole pandemic experience really took an impact on businesses and cities. And we got some financial aid that helped us in some ways, but we struggled to catch up in a lot of other ways. And we're all trying to come out of that. And Mayor Wilson of Portland invited all the mayors, 241 mayors across the city, to come, and more than 50 of us showed up and marched in the parade and felt very welcomed and very supportive of each other and of the city of Portland. So it was a great event, one of the most fun things I've done as mayor. And I just think what we do up here is not just for the city of Gladstone, but we have opportunities through a variety of avenues to impact what goes on regionally and for other cities. And whether it's through metro work, through work in the county, through work at the League of Oregon Cities at the statewide level, we are all having a bigger impact than just what we do in this room. So it's great to see Oregon in being influenced by what little old Gladstone does. And tonight, little old Gladstone being influenced a lot by what people at the state of Oregon do. But if we can work cooperatively with one another, I think it's good for all of us. I want to thank staff for coming tonight and supporting us on our presentations. Emily, I know you're still out there. I appreciate your being here to keep us running things properly and to answer any questions we had. And thanks for subbing for Chad tonight. And
it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. I think that's all we have. So is there a motion to adjourn?
I actually have one more thing. And
Councilor Mitchell, go ahead.
Don't have the information in front of me. So if someone happens to know the information, Canuck, our canine, is turning 10. And I believe his party is going to be at Max Patterson June 24th at 1, I want to say.
It's a very short window.
Yes. That's all I have.
All right. That's another great announcement of one more thing that makes us proud to be Gladstonians.
Mayor Milch, you had indicated, I unfortunately will be busy this weekend, but there's part of the Rose Festival is coming to Gladstone.
Oh, that's the other thing I did want to mention. I'm glad you brought it up. Yes. The president or chairperson of the Rose Foundation group, Rose Festival Foundation, I think it's called. There's so many different organizations connected to that long, more than 100-year thing. Happens to be a resident of the city of Gladstone. And so each year they plant 3 rose bushes in honor of the high-ranking officials of those organizations help put on the event. And because he's a Gladstone resident, those rose bushes will be planted here in Gladstone at our community center. I saw city staff there preparing the beds for that today. So it will be along that little path that connects the Pooterbaugh Memorial Garden to the community center building. And it's 9 a.m. on this coming Saturday morning. It will be before it starts getting too hot. And my wife's hope is that it will be in a location where the waters will be, or the roses will be watered regularly and kept alive, and because they can last for decades and will be a great addition to this community. So that's one more thing you can do in the next upcoming days. Councilor Labonte, did you? Okay, all right. All right. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Councilor Labonte, seconded by Councilor Huckabee. Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Garlington,
Yes.
Counselor Farley,
Yes.
Counselor Labonte.
Yes.
Counselor Blau,
Yep.
Counselor Mitchell,
Yes.
Counselor Huckabee,
Yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, it is unanimous. We are adjourned at 8:42 p.m.